Welcome back to the Emancipation series. Sorry this took a long time in doing. I've had all sorts of other extraneous things grabbing my attention at the moment, and unfortunately, health and international stamp shows that happen once in a generation do occupy a lot of my time. Now, I'm going to be doing a very different look at this Emancipation series for several reasons. One, I have noticed in recently a lot of the Prince channels the views have really slumped down. Even the big time channels have dropped from the low thousands. In some cases, really good videos are barely climbing into the hundreds now. I think there's been a general decline in interest in Prince over the past few months, especially after the 1999 thing has come and gone, really. And so I'm not going to do massive 10 video long panegyrics anymore. This whole Emancipation thing is going to be quite brief. This video I'm going to talk about some of the history behind Emancipation and also the initial reaction to it, and I'm also going to throw in my own story about it. The second video, basically, I haven't decided how many videos I'm going to do yet, but I'm going to review all the songs basically on this album because there's so many of them, and all of them really require notes of their own. There are a few which are just but there are some out there just basically the greatest stuff ever made, pretty much. The Love We Make stands out as particularly as one of the greatest ever songs Prince ever made, basically. That's just a magnificent song. There's so many layers in it, his vocals, everything, just combined just to make it. It always appears on everyone's top song lists, basically, virtually with the old Deathless cliche. Let's turn Emancipation into a perfect 12 or 15 song disc, and The Love We Make is always the song that appears at the top of the charts, basically, whereas very few people are rushing to put on Mr. Happy or Da 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 in comparison, which are basically just throwaway filler junk that Prince did no favours squandering what was left of his legacy putting on the album. Okay, so let's move on. Basically, compared to a lot of other albums, there has never really been much study with Emancipation. People generally have not been that interested in it. It's kind of like Emancipation just showed up at the end of 1996. Prince was going on about how he was free. I think a lot of it was overshadowed by the fact that Mayte had the baby and the baby died, and Prince was very good at covering it up, basically. And he sat through that Oprah interview, painful as it was, and he basically lied to her about how wife and child were doing really well. And then after that, of course, you had the fallout. Basically, Prince really went off Mayte afterwards, and basically he was cheating on her from 1998 onwards. So basically, that's why Emancipation was kind of overshadowed. The other big story people heard of too, one of the big jokes about it was that the album shipped double platinum and returned triple platinum, basically. And of course, the other big joke about Emancipation too was that it was the album Prince was born to make, but no one wanted to listen to, basically. But seriously, let's talk about it. First of all, Emancipation, as we know, has 36 songs. What's unique about it was Prince talked about the symmetry of the pyramids. He wanted to have 3 discs with 12 songs on them. Each disc had lasted exactly 60 minutes. So there must have been some creative, timing, tweaking, and mixing to ensure that the songs did not overrun the limit. Although I noticed I put it on my record player, it did say that disc 1 was 59.59 and disc 2 was 60.03, but that could just be timing issues with the lower quality Yang Chong type CD players I had in the 1990s. The early El Cheapo ones that always had skipping discs on them. They would always skip the discs because they were very cheap quality, made in China, that type of thing, and so basically what we know is that the album was released on November 19th, 1996, which was only 5 months after Chaos and Disorder. It wasn't very heavily promoted. Basically, the only single that really got much promotion was Betcha by Golly Well with Right Back Here in My Arms, which was a minor hit, getting all the way up to... I didn't even write it down, that's how forgettable it is. It got up to number 13 in the States and number 11 in the UK, I believe. It got into the top 20 and it dropped very quickly. Even though I remember I don't have it anymore, but I actually did have a single. It was a bright orange packet, and inside was that famous poster of Prince playing his guitar next to the picture of the world. Okay, the album itself was released in America. It got up to number 11 on the Billboard 200 charts, spending 21 weeks in the charts. It got to number 6 on the R&B charts, spent 26 weeks, which was pretty good considering that by late 1996 the amount of sort of pop rap and R&B type music it was getting, and all stuff like Biggie Smalls and Tupac, and all this yo 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 bitch rap music that was funky, and all this G-funk and yo nigga got something to bounce to, G smoke a pound of weed every day, got my G's in the car, all that type of rubbish, and all these rap videos showing women wearing nothing but shoelaces go, yo, 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 I can shake my butt, going, yeah, yeah, yo, bitch, you better shake that ass. So for Prince to put a sensitive love album out in amongst all of this garbage, he did pretty well. And there was also around the same time, you remember that song, Mo Fug's Fug Devotion? And that was just, I consider it the most irresponsible song I've made. It showed like all these and they're all like driving around, they're having picnics at the park, and it showed them feeding all their various love children. Like the kids, like 1 or 2 years old, they would have like fucking dreadlocks and shit in their hair, and like it showed them driving towards a massive black fist that was pointing up like this, and it's like, do we really need to be seeing this type of rubbish on television? And it wasn't even a good song. It was like, yo, yo, average head's gonna handle this, and it showed like 4 black men standing there holding guns up, you know, aiming them and dancing with these guns, like thuggery and shooting people was normal and loving, yeah. And it just had, fuck devotion, we're having all the people. So that is why Betcha by Golly Wow and Emancipation gets number 1, because late 96, this was just after Tupac got shot. You know, everybody was listening to this absolute, just drugged out, Megadeth, gangster, Versace, bling bling rap music. I mean, I actually kind of liked it back then, but I just went majorly off it. Okay, it didn't do that well in the UK. It only got to number 18, spent 6 weeks in the charts there. The Netherlands, it did a bit better. It's got to number 13, spent 10 weeks. In France, it got to number 9, but only spent 4 weeks in the charts. In Canada, it went gold. In the USA, it actually went 2 times platinum in February 1997. Now, the story behind that was the actual fact that the album, it was a free disc album, as we all know. So you got the discs here, 1, 2, 3, basically. So each one of these discs counted as an album sales. Each set are free. And here you are. This is a real blast from the past. This is my original, not my original set, because this is my original set because what happened was, again, when I went to Korea, I had to throw out all my heavy plastic packaging because of the 20 kg weight limit for budget travel. So I ended up buying this second-hand set, which actually is a censored version because I cut out a few of the fucks and motherfuckers in it in 2011. But this is an original set. I think this was made for the American market because they were clean and they loved God and they didn't want to listen to that damn, you know, swearing, because the original versions actually had parental advisory, explicit lyrics, you know, and that sort of ghetto black lettering, basically. And just sorry, I know it's probably borderline racist, but that whole era just did nothing to advance the cause of African American music. I mean, there was a lot of great positive rap coming out, and also all the jazz, all the R&B, but the only stuff that was getting chart attention was just all this rap music, all this G-funk and all this kind of sexified soul like Tony Braxton and Genuine. Remember that Genuine song? I had like that guy singing, "Come ride it, my pony, my saddle is waiting for you to jump on it." You know, and it showed him like he was walking around like his chest had been oiled up. They basically looked like a group of Mandingo bucks, basically. And they went into a redneck bar and started flirting with all the white girls, and all the rednecks go, "Oh damn, I don't want them boys in here." You know, and at the end they're all dancing along to the song, which is just basically, it makes Prince look like kindergarten, pretty much, you know. So it was just all sex and violence in the charts back then, pretty much. We've improved a bit now. We've traded in the sex and violence for basically no talented skanks going. I mean, anything from Billie Eilish, I mean, all their music is just mumbling, and it's just all bimbo rubbish. But, sorry, I'm getting sidetracked here. So that was it. It didn't actually do that well on the charts, and it really did come at a time when Prince had almost faded away from the mainstream. I mean, a lot of people had just been thrown aback by his name change, and they were just a bit sick of it. And people had moved on, I guess. I mean, this was like, you know, Purple Rain was 12 years in the past now. And every time Prince appeared in the media, he just got weirder and weirder and weirder. It's like, oh my God, he is just so strange. He had like those weirdo hairstyles. I mean, people see that and they see, oh my God, this is a man who's nearly 40. You know, and they see that type of stuff and they're like, what the hell? Prince has like turned himself from a guitar god into some sort of medieval Islamic lute playing weirdo, basically. You know, and all this stuff, I mean, it looks like some sort of witchy poo type thing, you know. And I mean, the funny thing about this booklet was it came out at the very beginning of sort of computer graphics. This is probably, you know, he doesn't exactly look like a cutting-edge pop star, does not really just sing about riding someone's pony or giving some fuck devotion with helping all the people. I'm sorry, it's just, black people, you're going to get angry at me here, but I'm sorry, this stuff was just coon music. It was just trap music, basically, at the time. And there was another song called Hey, and he said, yo, yo, we're smoking up, smoking on hay in the middle of a barn. And it was like sort of some country-ass dustiness. You know, they had like these people, like these gangsters wearing a sort of a mixture of gangster plaid, and they all had like missing teeth, and they all singing about smoking and having sex in the barn, basically. you know, talking about a woman who looked like cornbread and all this type of stuff, you know. But anyway, back to the song. There ain't no cornbread in this, but so this is like very early, very spooky graphics. Like it was like, I think, basically Windows Photoshop version 1, and you also see some of the ultra cheap. But seriously, this is when Prince actually redid up Paisley Park around the Emancipation time. He wanted to make the more sort of child-friendly space. So there you are. So second part will get a bit more serious, and we'll talk about the history of the album. Okay. All right. So the history. Emancipation has very deep roots that go back quite a long way. Now, all through the 90s, if you go back to my fandom series, a lot of the music from Diamonds and Pearls right through to basically when Emancipation, Prince had recorded it in advance and he'd actually stockpiled it. So a very high percentage of the Emancipation songs dated right back to the very beginning of 1995, at a time when Prince was still basically putting out the Black Album. He was still promoting Calm, he was still promoting the Gold Experience, and he was doing all the Get Wild stuff, he was doing Exodus, and he wrote most of Emancipation at the time, and there were at least 3 early lineups of it. The first 3 basically were just 10-song albums, and finally in mid-1996 was when Prince added a lot of the ballads that went into the album, Right Back Here in My Arms, Soul Sanctuary, Let's Have a Baby, all the stuff about Mayte. He married Mayte in February 96, and in June 1996 was when he engaged Londell Macmillan, who was a fine attorney who got him out of the Warner's contract. Warner said, okay, Prince, you can go, give us some money, give us 3 more albums. The first one of those albums was the contract filler, Chaos and Disorder. The second one was the Old Friends for Sale. And the third album, I'm not even sure what it was, but I think that Warner and Prince is making. I think the third album actually was the very best of Prince. And after they got out of his contract, so Emancipation, a lot of the songs he'd written for this Emancipation project were basically slated to go onto the first album when he got away from Warner's. Okay, now I just want to talk briefly about some of the songs that did not make the cut. First of all, a lot of songs, 2020 was one of the songs that did not make it. Feel Good, Journey to the Center of Your Heart, DJ. Okay, Slowly, I can't even read my handwriting here, sorry. My handwriting is just so messy. But it's on Prince Vault anyway, and a song called DJ. Journey to the Center of Your Heart, I'm sure all of you have heard. Then those were all in mid-95, October 95. Excuse Me, This Is Goodbye. It's clearly obvious that that song sounds like Goodbye off Crystal Ball. Early 1996, She Gave Her Angels. It's another Crystal Ball outtake. What's that? Coincidence or Fate. Yep, as you know, that song ended up much later in the 2010s. Extraordinary. That's another the Vault outtake. Van Gogh, which I think was just sort of like kind of like a expectation, sort of news era type music, sort of jazz number. 1,000 Hugs and Kisses, of course. I always thought this was recorded 92, 93, but it appears it actually dates from 1996. It's probably about Mayte too when you think about it. If it ain't, Gut Bucket, I Will, Into the Light, as you know, those two ended up on Chaos and Disorder. Even though Chaos and Disorder came out in July 96, it was actually recorded very late. It was recorded February, March 96, so already most of the Emancipation stuff was in the can when Prince did Chaos and Disorder. Stone, as you know, that's a wonderful song. You don't hear it on bootleg, but it's a very good song, and I love it. It's sort of like a sort of, it's almost confrontational ballad. He's singing mostly in his baritone. And Heart in My Hand, With God as My Witness, and Organised, and 7, basically, were some of the songs that did not make the cut. So what we had was basically something that was 36 songs long. A lot of it made the cut, and basically a read down of the songs on the album was disc 1, which was sort of more sort of like the party album. Part disc was Jam of the Year, Right Back Here in My Arms, Somebody, Get Your Groove On, Courting Time, Beat You by Golly Wow, We Gets Up, White Mansion, Damned If I Do, I Can't Make You Love Me, Mr. Happy, and In This Bed I Scream. Disc 2 sort of featured the more funky jams, but also a lot of the songs were clearly about Mayte herself. Sex in the Summer, One Kiss at a Time, Soul Sanctuary, Email, Curious Child, Dreaming About You, Joint to Joint, The Holy River, Let's Have a Baby, Saviour, The Plan, Friend, Lover, Sister, Mother, Wife. Third album was sort of more, actually sort of the more esoteric songs, but again, Mayte is the main theme of it. Slave, New World, The Human Body, Face Down, La 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 Means I Love You, Style, Sleep Around, Da Da Da, My Computer, One of Us, The Love We Make, and Emancipation being the final cut. Now, the other thing too is that compared to all his earlier albums, this was the first time ever Prince put covers on this album. Prince has been singing covers in concert like Honky Tonk Woman and things, and just my imagination. But for the first time ever, he was recording other people's songs and basically putting them on the album. And in this one, the covers include basically Betcha by Golly Wow, which is an old, I think it's an old Stylistics or Delphonics song from about 1971. And he does a really good job of that, some great soul singing. It became the first single. Damned If I, no, not Damned, I Can't Make You Love Me, which is a Bonnie Raitt song from 1995-96. He does a really good take on it. I mean, he does sort of kind of add a sort of Prince sexified feel, like, so what are we going to do? We're going to make love in this bedroom/church. You can guess the offering. Ooh, I can't make you love me if you don't hear in the darkness. In these final hours, I will lay down my heart, and I'll have the power. So it's really good. It's actually one of the better songs on the whole set. There's also a version of the song by George Michael, which I really like too. George Michael recorded it for his 1998 Greatest Hits collection, and I think it's also very recommended. George definitely puts a more soulful sort of, almost, George Michael type feel to the song, basically. And even Bonnie Raitt's version is quite nice too. It's sort of more slowed down, sort of easy listening. It's not really country, but it's very, she's got a lovely voice too. So I Can't Make You Love Me is just a fine song, no matter who's doing it, basically. And then the other one, of course, is there's no covers on the second disc. The third disc, though, has La 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 Means I Love You, and that is just another very, very old song, I think, by the Delphonics or someone like that. One of Us is a famous Joan Osborne song. I mean, she only had the one big hit, but I think she's mainly a Christian rock artist. And again, like, along with The Love We Make, One of Us is probably the finest songs ever made. I know it's a cover, but his version of it just kills. I mean, he just puts so much conviction in the voice, and of course, the other thing about One of Us when I review the songs is there is just this guitar solo which is just off the fucking chain. I mean, it's just, and it just flows so seamlessly from Prince's vocal going, if God had a name, what would it be, and would you call us if you were faced with him and all his glory? Damn! And you've got the guitar always running, yeah, yeah, God is good. What if God was one of us? Wow, wow, really turning on the whammy bar. It's just amazing. There's just, and that's what I mean, it's just such a patchy album. I mean, most of it's really good, but there are some massive highlights. I mean, One of Us, I mean, you should just, if you see this in a bargain bin anywhere for like $5, it probably won't now because the estate's gone for and re-released it and put like the, jumbo prices on everything. So it's like, I don't know, $1 million for the record set or something. So I have to apologize. It's going to be a very silly video, but I think after such a long time and the fact that my videos are so serious, I mean, it's probably time, just to crazy things up a bit. Unfortunately, because I'm not feeling the best today, there won't be any screaming, but I promise to try and do some screaming in the individual song videos. Mr. Purple Music, if you're watching, I know what's happened to you. I haven't seen you for months, but anyway. So that's the songs on the album. We've got 36 songs, 3 hours of music. I mean, you could really spend an afternoon just listening to this stuff. Now, briefly, I want to talk about shit here. I remember buying Chaos and Disorder when it came out, but I was like, pretty meh about it. I mean, I didn't really get into it much, and I think I actually got rid of it at some stage. Then, by the time Emancipation came out, I was back home from uni. I decided I was going to go to Auckland the next year, come out, and everything else. But at the same time, Emancipation got released. In early December, it arrived here. In those days, things weren't coming across on the same day. Everything was still coming across on a boat. And in those days, CDs were really, really expensive. I think the price on this set initially was $79.95 New Zealand, which was about right considering that a standard one CD new release until about 2001 was between $32 and $36.95 for a CD, and $19.95 and $23.95 for a cassette tape. By late '96, I had a CD player. I didn't want tapes anymore. Tapes were becoming obsolete, so I wanted the CD set. So I got it as a Christmas present, basically. And I felt sorry for my mother because she paid full price for it, and by the middle of 1997, it was down to basically $10, and by 1998 you could find it in basically in the dollar boxes. I do remember playing it a lot. I remember instantly liking the songs The Holy River, Joint to Joint, and Sex in the Summer, along with most of disc 1. I didn't really get much of disc 3 at the time. I mean, incredibly, I didn't really discover The Love We Make until basically the 2000s. I do remember seeing the song Email, go www.email.com, and that would get a yell from my mother. I was only home for the holidays. I was 20, but I was still being treated like I was 5 years old, basically, She was very resentful. And then I remember I actually took the album with us when we went on our family holiday again to that place where they got no electricity, and we had to play all our music through the car radios and battery operated tape playing CD things. I don't know. I mean, it's been so long since we had those things. In this age of music and speakers and music in your ears and music blaring out of computers, it just seems like it was back in the Stone Age now. I think in between hunting the Diplodocus for dinner, I was playing songs off this album, and I remember my mother really liked Betcha by Golly Wells, saying that she thought that his singing was really good. She was less amused with me singing that song Email.com. The king makes a pawn. I remember playing the song before. I just remember absolutely just playing the shit out of that guitar solo in the Holy River in One of Us, because I actually like the original One of Us too as well. And yeah. And I remember going into 97, I took it with me when I went to Auckland. I listened to it a lot through 97. And then for some reason, about in the middle of 1997, I just lost all interest in Prince. I was barely conscious to anything that was going on. I mean, I saw 98, I saw in that new Power Soul came out, avoid it. And I really kind of went off Prince until 2005. So there you are. Really my last great burst of sort of what I call the prehistoric Prince period. So there you are. There's my opening to Emancipation. Hope you like it. Could be quite a few weeks until I do the reviews because the international show starts middle of next week, and I've got a lot of coin related and stamp related crap to take care of in the meantime. So peace and be wild. Please let this video get more than 21 fucking views, and you're all blessed. Oh, the other thing too is that Drag Race has started back up, so I'm watching that as well. Okay, see ya.